Hey guys, this is Beta Finance, and I don't think my name's Steve. I don't know if I ever said that in my previous videos, but yeah. So this video is I've been trying to do for a while now, but I had to figure out how to properly record my screen and all the ins and outs of like recording with a mic and stuff. So getting pretty advanced. Um, but this video is going to be pretty straightforward. I always say it's going to be quick, but it's never quick, so I won't even promise that. But what am I doing? So I'm just showing you one part of my process, which is I have gone through the reserve list. So I guess as a refresher, I am consolidating my Magic collection by selling off things, and actually I'm not just selling Magic cards. I just sold a bunch of old video games and a Game Boy Advance, and I've sold some Magic cards. And then I'm taking that money and I'm buying higher end Magic cards. And right now, I guess I've kind of made it my goal to fill up a binder full of reserve list cards, of which I'm up to 5 right now, and I actually have a 6th one coming on the way. But yeah, so starting on the 21st, as you can see, I and actually this is gonna be. I just want to make sure that I'm actually recording. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I just want to make sure that I'm not fucking up. And anyway, so I forget even how I started to I don't remember how I learned just recently that not only the Magic finance world is blowing up, but just like collectibles, stores of value are just off the wall. And the main reason that's happening is, people are worried about the oncoming inflation, and actually maybe that's already happening, where you might be seeing higher costs in various staple groceries or whatever. But the reason that's happening is because in 2020, because of the stimulus check, because of the stimulus bill, we doubled the money supply within a year. So it either went from like 2 trillion to 4 trillion, or 4 trillion to 8 trillion, or something like that. And so now, and that's this is just one reason why this is happening. But now people are kind of leery on cash, and they're putting it into things that have more long-term value, or basically things that are counter-cyclical, because they want to protect their money and they want to protect their purchasing power. And if you have disposable income, you can buy high-end Magic cards or Bitcoin or gold, or something like that. Fine art, comic books, whatever your poison is. So that's the long way of saying I am into Magic. I've already had a long. I mean, there's already a video about me talking about my Magic collection, but I have a Magic collection, and I'm trying to consolidate the value into. I'd rather have a few more expensive cards than a bunch of $5 cards or whatever. And then I have a whole thing of bulk commons and probably uncommons that really I don't really know if I can get much. My plan with that well, I know I can't really get that much, but my plan with that is I'm going through all of my cards right now. I've already organized and cataloged them. Man, I can really rant, huh? I've already cataloged them, and I'm just gonna make a giant cube out of. I'm probably gonna like keep one copy of every card at least. Make a giant cube and put that off to the side, and then go through the process of curating the cube. Cutting cards. I have a whole idea with that. But in the meantime, on the 21st, I discovered that the Magic Finance world was exploding, and I decided to just go through the reserve list and figure out and kind of do a little speculating. And it's kind of unfortunate because this is something I planned on doing in early 2020. Like, I had sorted my Magic collection, and then I was like, I'm gonna sell a bunch of cards that I don't care about, and then I'm gonna buy like one dual land. And this is back when like revised dual lands were still like high end. Like, your Underground Sea was like, I don't know, maybe $300-$400, and then like your plateaus and like tundras and stuff were like in the $150 to $200 range, right? So I was like, well, this is perfectly within like my grasp. I've got more than enough time to like, sell off a bunch of cards, maybe just to supplement like buying a dual land or two, and then now revised dual lands like an Underground Sea is like $1,000 or more, and even a Badlands is like $500-$600. So that kind of led me to go to the reserve list to a certain price range, which, if you can tell by, with a few exceptions, I just wanted a copy artifact. There's just no question to it. And I actually did recently purchase one. And I hope I didn't get ripped off, but I purchased one and it looks like it's in near mint condition, and I got it at a reasonable price. Right now it's up to, this data is old actually because I'm doing this video on the 3rd. This is from the 31st. I do have the other 3 days of data, but on an actual Excel sheet, not just Google Sheets. But right now, copy artifact is up to 160, and actually we can just do a real quick price check just to make sure. But I believe that copy artifact revised is up to 160. 161. Okay. And that's the other thing. So all of this price information is coming from MTG Goldfish, and I noticed that this price is always the TCG Player mid price. So just to keep things consistent, whether it's true or not, all of the data is based on TCG Player mid price, and also the high price on the trend chart. Okay, so actually this is a great example because what I did here was I wanted to see how quickly and how much on a day-to-day basis these cards are going to go up in value, right? And so how I did that was every day I would go to MTG Goldfish. First I went through the reserve list and found a list of cards, okay, that I believe with my magical experience, my magic experience, which cards that I felt were still undervalued. And so I went through this list, I went through the reserve list, and I compiled this list of, I think it's about 30 cards, 38 cards. 37 cards. Okay. So I compiled this list of 37 cards, and I noted their highs, like their all-time historical highs. So in the case of Copy Artifact, the all-time historical high is 265. Now, really, if you look at the trend chart, that's actually quite an outlier. So it spiked up here on September 20th of 09. For whatever reason, I'm not sure. Maybe there was some reason. Actually, if we... Okay. So, is that 2009? No, that's incorrect. It's 2020. Okay, so last year on... So is it like... September 2nd. On September 2nd, for whatever reason, this spiked in price. Okay. Now, I'm assuming this price is determined by the TCG player mid price, so it could be that, and so actually let's see what exactly the mid price is. That's a listed median. So the sum of, the middle price of all the cards for sale. Okay. So it must have been, okay, so actually this is probably what happened. You know what probably happened here? Okay. So if this is the listed median, right? That means what happened was everyone around April of 2020 see this spike in price. So it actually happened what I think I'm about to describe probably also happened at this point. And so what happened was everyone bought everyone like basically bought out Copy Artifact during this time frame. And at that point it drove the listed median. So someone who just probably wasn't really intentionally trying to sell, they drove the price up, or whatever price they had listed on TCG Player was the mid price, which means it was probably a short supply at that point, and those were the prices left over in the market, right? So the Copy Artifact market like got bought out hard. Then there's only a few like high priced copies left, and it drives up that median. But then what happens is everyone sees that median and everyone starts trying to sell their copy again, and it dropped back down to like at $97 back to $75, because probably this is like a little glut added to the market, and then buyout price, and now it's spiked up again to $150. So anyway, there's like a little impromptu analysis of what might have happened. But all right, so I happened to get my copy for $128, but that was because I had a coupon on Mercari. But yeah, we'll see how that turns out. So anyway, so I compiled this list of cards that I've wanted, and not all these cards. Like, I wanted a Palancron, which was really unfortunate because Palancron was, for the past like week, was pretty steady, right? Like, look at that. 52, 59 over 6 days, and like the percent increase from the high was 13%, right? Which, I mean, that's pretty substantial. I mean, that's like a notable gain. But the day over day, so yeah, I have 2%. I have two differentials, I guess, here. One is the price. I'm watching the trend of the price from the historical high, and then the other is the day over day. So how much it's increasing from one day to the next, right? And look at that. It's just like, it's really, doing this has been really interesting it's been really interesting because you just kind of see like the market behavior, as you're plotting things out. So it's like what happened on this day. Everyone just remembered that Palinchron was cool and bought a bunch, and it's like word got, like, more people became keen to what's going on here, and everyone bought Palinchron, and so now it's $150. So hopefully what happens is, what could happen is, well, I feel like that's already, I was going to say what could happen is people start selling more again, but I feel like that's already what has happened like twice. And so actually, okay, so let's look at Palinchron's trend. So this is Copy Artifacts trend. You have early 2020, maybe there's like a big buy, price spike, right? Okay. Then people are still fine with this price, and there's like a relatively good supply. So like the price elasticity of demand is high for a Copy Artifact because it doubled in price, but people were still willing to buy it, and there's like a big enough supply at that price. Okay, so people buy Copy Artifact, boom, market goes crazy, and then you're left with these like really high cost prices, right? Then that attracts some more sellers, and maybe someone sells it. Maybe a few people sell it at this price, but then everyone's trying to get this price, and then it drives the price down because now people have to, lower their price in order to sell, but they're still making a profit relative to, the historical price, which, man, it was like $3 at one point in 2010. Wow, that's cool. So yeah, all right. So remember that. Price here, big sell, price spike, boom, big sell, price spike. Now it's a race to the bottom, and another price spike. Okay, so let's look at Palinchron. Let's see if we can bust our theory. Okay, Urza's Legacy, Palinchron, reserve list, 150. Okay, so yeah, a similar thing happened, and I know you're probably thinking like, no, it didn't, but this is that same time frame. So here's early 2020. People are buying. There's a little price bump. Okay, but people are still buying. And now maybe the market's bought out and it spiked. And now there's not very many left at that price, which is why the median is 150. So people are even selling moderately playeds for 134. When you're selling moderately played for like nearly the same value, like near mint, what's near mint? Okay, yeah, 150. Whoa. I don't know. Is this legal to do? Can I do what I'm doing? Why wouldn't it be? I don't know. That's a good price though. I guess not really. It's not actually a good price because the average is like, I feel like, see, one thing you have to know is how many are out there. Urza's Saga or Urza's Legacy. That's not too old, is it? But yeah, I don't know. And I guess especially with Palinchron, it's just like a classic card. That's why I wanted it. It's because this cycle of like untapped lands when you play it, that's just really cool. Like Peregrine Drake, Palinchron, Treachery, that whale or whatever, the fairies, Unwind, Rewind. well, so rewind is the part of like from this era, but then right, and then unwind is like the Dominaria one. But rewind is sweet. I always love rewind. It feels so good to counter something and then untap that mana, especially when you're playing commander. And then you got unwind, which is negate, but cooler. Yeah. Anyway, so what am I trying to say? All right. So I guess that's kind of my thought process when I'm like looking at these things. So basically, I guess to summarize, I went through the reserve list. I saw cards that I like, and I saw cards that I thought were undervalued, and sometimes those cards were the same card. And then and also I went to a price range that I was comfortable with. So I was willing mostly to spend like high end on average. What is the average? I'm gonna say the average is 45. Oh, it doesn't do the average. Oh wait, here we go. 54. Dang, I was off. Okay, so the average is $54. So that's like that's the price range I was comfortable buying at. I was willing to spend $50 on a card, given with a few exceptions. So I guess actually it should be here. Oh, maybe I'm more accurate. $35. Holy shnikes. Okay, so I was off both ways. So I guess I was willing to spend about $35 and start my collection there. But yeah, so I went through the list, made a list of myself, and then I decided to start, keeping tabs on how these things were moving. And if you look at how it started, so if you look at the historical high, the sum was about just over $2,000. At the point in time when I started this, these cards were a total of $1,300. So that's a pretty significant devaluation, and not even considering like copy artifact, which is like $265. But you know what? I don't think copy artifact was $155 at that time either. Maybe it was. Well, anyway, so if you discount $265, you have like a lot of cards like City of Solitude, which so here's a funny story about City of Solitude. So on the 21st, it was $23. If you don't know the card, here's the card. So it basically prevents people from playing spells on other people's turns. So it's good for green because, it prevents counter spells. And you can get your big fatties out and bash in the face. And it's a 3 mana enchantment in green, which is basically like 2 mana. And, it's really good. So when I saw that it was only like 20 some dollars, I was like, okay, this is like secret OP or something, or people don't know about it. But look how quickly people found out, because now it's $65 and actually hit a high of 70. I was able to get one of these for $20 recently, but and I actually did buy 2 more for $50 total, and then I canceled my order. But I did that as a matter of principle, because my policy with buying cards, with buying collectibles, is I have to be positive or at least even in order to buy something new. Uh, that's mostly to prevent myself from like going crazy and buying, an entire card store and then having no money left. So it is regretful, but I mentioned this in an earlier video that I believe that if you're, I would rather buy I would rather do something. Yeah, I guess I'll just speak in terms of buying. I'd rather buy when I know I can than at a higher price than buy at a lower price when I shouldn't. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but maybe, but like especially when I'm just starting out, kind of getting into the more of the financial aspect of this. Um, I think it's better to be more cautionary or prudent than just to go ham. But anyway, I also really just like this card. I find that I don't play a lot of green, but I really like green cards. Green and white cards. White cards, they just like have a very, they have green and white cards just have like this kind of pleasant, like they just have like good art. Like another card that I want to talk about and one that I have my eyes on is Tithe. This is another staple in Highlander, EDH. Oh, well, I was gonna be like, would they not want me to, does MTG Goldfish, like, would they not want me to like show their contents? But I don't know why, because then it's just advertising for them. MTG Goldfish is great. I think they have like the best price information, and yeah. Anyway, look at Tithe. Like I would just want a print of this art. It's just like, it looks like it looks like it could be a famous painting. You know what I mean? Like, could you imagine this just like, I could easily imagine this just like hanging up in a museum during, and this would be like some kind of like impressionist piece, Um, and then I'm really attracted to like single costing single mana spells that is just like the one pip. Just like kind of feels like pure to me. It's like you can only use white mana or green mana or black mana, and it's like Vampiric Tutor. Like Vampiric Tutor is just like is in psychologically it's like the epitome of like black to me. It's like instant speed, tutor, 2 life, get whatever you want, and it's just like great, right? Tithe is like the same way. Look at it's like instant speed. You reset the balance. You go back to parity, right? Because it allows you to ramp on someone else's turn at minimal cost, and that's like something really good. Like any kind of card advantage is really good for white. So that's like probably why this card is just so popular, is just because it's so functional and elegant. That's kind of, I feel like that's it's kind of some of the thought when you're looking at the value of cards, is like, is it functional? Is it unique and beautiful? Is it how much is it played? Those are kind of like the 3 big factors. So yeah, I feel like the list isn't really anything special. I feel like a lot of these things are obvious, and it's more, I'm just like kind of sharing my thought process about these things. So then I find like the results interesting, and I love conditional formatting because it kind of shows you, Oh yeah, oh wait, I do have these things hidden. Okay. Um, Conditional formatting kind of reveals, it's like looking at color is a lot more intuitive right away. Like it's really interesting how much color can change your perception, because obviously, like, just looking at this table of numbers, it's really really hard to make anything out of this. But then as soon as you add colors with significance, it's like right away obvious. It's like, okay, you can see the big jump in Palicron spontaneously versus like the gradual like the more gradual decline of like Lotus Veil. Okay, so how you read this is green means it's very like the spread between the historical high and the current price is very very large. Okay, so in the case of like Power Leech and Firestorm, they are still they've been consistently much lower than their historical high. Okay, up between the two, I really like Firestorm because I like right now, like if you look at Firestorm, it's $25. Okay, the historical high was 90. Okay, I don't know if it's worth that much, but it's definitely probably still on the rise. But I'm not actually sure why. I've never even heard of this card. Maybe it's more popular than I know, but it's legal in Commander, and it seems like a really good Commander card because, like, especially for like a wheel deck, it's only 1 mana and it's instant speed, and all you have to do is discard, like even here's like the deciding factor for me. So discard X cards. Firestorm deals. This is where it gets like awesome. It deals X damage to each of X target creatures and or players. So for every card you discard, you get a new target, and it increases the damage by 1. So if you're playing wheels or like okay, Niv Mizzet decks, like, and this is obvious. Maybe this isn't like CEDH worthy, but like I feel like this is a powerful card. I mean, Comet Storm is very popular, and yes, it's because you can go infinite with it, but I feel like if you don't want to do infinite and you want like a finite number, you want like a finite win condition, then like it seems really fun to draw a bunch of cards and then like blast the table for like, I don't know. You could like draw really you could go semi infinite with this card because you could like draw your whole deck of like, at that point, let's say it's like turn 8 and you've drawn 15 cards, right? And you've put your infinite win con together or whatever. It's like you draw your whole deck, okay? You've got 74 cards in your deck, and you cast Firestorm, and like you discard. You wouldn't even need to discard your whole deck. You could just discard 40 cards. So then you have, I don't know. It just seems like a really good card. And so actually, so this price is probably close to what it should be. So maybe that's the other thing I've noticed is like a lot of cards have started to slow down. Like you still have like Anvil of Bogarden. You don't see it here, but it's shot up in price, and I think that's actually another good that does make sense to me. It's a very cheap artifact, and it was man, just ridiculously low. $30. Um, yeah. So anyway, that's like one visual aid, and then it is, I was just doing this for a while. I was just looking at the difference from the high day over day, but then it's also kind of interesting to look at the day over day change. So you see these like little pops in or declines across each day. You see like Pound Crown blows up, Mind Over Matter, Yawgmoth's Bargain. This one is funny. Yawgmoth's Bargain is hilarious because Yawgmoth's Bargain, as if you're just evaluating the card in a vacuum, is good. Look how low it was. $9.97 on the 21st. Okay, so objectively, I think that it's a great card because it's like more expensive Necropotence, but no, I think you do skip your draw phase, but you don't have to exile things when you discard them, which is pretty. That's good. Okay, yeah. So you skip your draw step, and then it's just like pay 1 life, draw a card, and you get it in hand in that turn, and like 6 mana, very easy to get to in EDH. So this would be a good EDH. I mean, it's actually too strong for EDH, which is why it's banned. It's banned in Commander. And I think what happened was people saw the word Yawgmoth, saw that it was a black card, saw what it did, right? So watch this. It was like $9.97. Then where people were like, whoa, $48, And then they're like, oh, wait, it's banned? Oh, it's banned in Commander. So this is like, oh, it's banned in Commander, but maybe one day it won't be. Or something, I don't know. And I can also see it's got the name Yawgmoth, and Yawgmoth is a prominent figure in the Magic lore, so maybe it'll stick around. But that's why, like, maybe the demand, and it's it's kind of because the reserve list is also supposed to kind of be a cross slice of, it's like like it's supposed to be representative of the spirit of Magic, right? That's like how it's kind of billed. And so certainly you have to have a Yawgmoth card or two. You have Yawgmoth's Bargain, and then you also have Yawgmoth's Will, which that's like the first reserve card I've ever bought, and I bought it when it was $50, and it's it's good now. Well, it's always been good, but it was just such a surprise to see how, I noticed when I was first cataloging my cards at the beginning of last year in 2020, I never really checked prices, and I'm logging all my cards, and I saw that. I was like, whoa, Yawgmoth's Bargain is up to $140. That's crazy. And so it must have been at that time that things were going crazy with MTG Finance, and people were buying things out or whatever. At the time, I didn't know that, though. So yeah, that's kind of just me rambling, and just showing you my thought process. I'm going to be continuing to sell things, continuing to buy things at what I feel is like the right price, and just kind of keep building my collection. Like I said, right now is like my goal is to fill like one Profolio with like all reserveless cards, and again, my my end goal, I'm really just doing this because I think it's fun, and my end goal is not to try to like, I'm not trying to like turn and burn these cards. I'm not trying to like flip anything. I'm gonna collect these cards and I'm just gonna sit on them, and I'm gonna hold them, and I'm going to relish the the buying experience, the watching things happen, trying to figure out when things are gonna happen and for what reasons and stuff, and just kind of I guess it's more of an experiment and analysis, which that's what I am. I'm an analyst, so I guess that's why I'm naturally drawn to looking at things like this. And I these, like, making illustrations is pleasing to me, but yeah, conditional formatting is a very powerful tool. It can help you. It can make things clear. You can just see how things are moving very intuitively. So I actually, and I haven't really quite figured out how to best use this chart. Maybe it's something like, okay, so if we're just kind of going off the bat here, so it's like when I see something like this, to me that means like the price it's at, it's moving up very slowly, if at all. So the price it's at is probably like close to its intrinsic value, if that's what you want to call it. So like, I guess really, I don't know if that's actually the right term, because like intrinsic value is like the true value of a stock, and you how you determine that is you use the net capital asset model. Let me look at this. Net capital, is this correct? Yeah, net capital asset pricing model. Capital asset pricing model. And what you're doing is you're trying to determine you're looking at the cash flows of a company. You are picking like an arbitrary timeline, like typically the example is like 10 years. And you're saying, okay, if this is like the average cash flow of the company, and they have this amount of stock, like, and it's at this transaction, the last transaction price was this, okay, what is the true or intrinsic value of the stock? And you're so then you say, okay, if the intrinsic value is greater than what the current price is, that's a good sign to invest in it. And if it's not, then you would be a fool because you're buying something at a price higher than it's worth. And so, what it does is it factors in like what is the normal movement of low risk, like low volatile low risk assets, like a bond, like a savings bond, and so you're trying to figure out, like, compared to like something that is very not compared to something that's not volatile, what is the intrinsic value of X investment? So it's kind of like, this is not very volatile. It's moving very slowly, and it's very consistent. Then you have Palencron, which was 4, 5, 7, 10, 13, 188%, right? So, and like these, and Treachery was more gradual, but it was still pretty extreme. It had like 16% jump. That's pretty big. But something like Copy Artifact, I guess actually Copy Artifact, this might be misleading, because Copy Artifact, that 265 was an outlier. But I'm not sure how I want to calculate an average price. So it would appear that it's still undervalued, which maybe it is. At least some people valued it at 265. I don't know. I mean, there's more than one version of Copy Artifact. So let's see what the other versions are. Alpha, Beta are unlimited. All right, so I think Beta is generally preferred, right? Because it's just a better print quality. But if we look at Alpha, it's 2,000. Beta's 900. Okay, maybe that's not true for everything. Unlimited 375 and revised 160. I guess I didn't have to keep switching between that. But yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know what I'm saying. I'm just saying maybe it has a little more room to grow, especially since this is like CEDH. This is like a CEDH staple, is it not? Yeah, like look at the decks it's in. Urza, Zur, Kess. Okay, Zur and Kess definitely are top tier commanders, and the price range of the decks is about is definitely okay. So these are like, this card is played in CEDH decks, right? But I don't know. I mean, it's like with all this stuff, it's just kind of educated. Well, yeah, it can be educated guessing, and you're trying to educate yourself as much as possible, so the guess factor is as minimal as possible. But also make sure, if you're interested in doing this, just like make sure you're doing it from a good place. Yeah, so thanks for watching me rant, and have a good one.